Yeah, very good evening, Avinash. Welcome to Aksharanam classes. This is Gaffer sir, your physics faculty. Let's start the session. Yeah, in the last class, in the last session, we completed. Yeah, I'm fine. In the last class, we done with force concept revision. Today, we'll go with friction topic. Yes or no? Let's go for the friction topic. Yeah, friction. You know friction. What is the friction? Friction is a force acting on the objects when they are having in motion. And another way also we can define friction is a force opposes the relative motion of the object. So here friction is a force which opposes relative motion, which opposes the relative motion of the object. Relative motion of the object it will opposes. And it is also one contact force. Here we have the formula for friction. The formula for friction is F is equal to mu into R, mu into N. Here N is a normal force, and mu is a coefficient of friction. Understand? Mu is a coefficient of friction. Got my point? So this is a general formula for friction force. Okay. Here friction depends upon what factors? Friction depends on normal force and nature of surface. Friction force depends upon normal force and nature of the surface. On these two bases, the friction force depends. And here we have three types of frictions. What are the three types of friction? Static friction. Second one is sliding or kinetic. Third one is rolling friction. So formula for static friction is F is equal to mu s into N. Same way formula for sliding friction is Fk is equal to mu k into N. And formula for rolling friction is Fr is equal to mu r into N. So here one more also we have the maximum static friction, max static friction is also known as limiting friction. The maximum static friction also known as limiting friction. The maximum static friction also known as limiting friction. The limiting friction, formula for limiting friction is Fl is equal to mu s into L. So this is the formula for limiting friction. And when static friction will exist, even though we are trying to move the objects by application of the forces, but the object is not moving. In that situation, friction force is existed between the surface and the object is known as static friction. So what is the spelling? Static friction. Yeah. Next, what is meant by sliding friction? Sliding friction or kinetic friction, when the objects are in motion, when the objects are sliding on the surfaces, the friction existed between the surfaces is known as sliding friction. And what is rolling friction? When the objects are rolling on the surfaces, the force of friction is existed between the surfaces is known as rolling friction. But among all frictions, the rolling friction is less than, rolling friction is less than, kinetic friction is less than static friction. Understand? By using the same thing, you can even find the relation between rolling friction is less than, kinetic friction is less than static, this coefficient of frictions. Coefficient of relation between the coefficient of frictions are rolling friction is less than, kinetic friction is less than static friction. So this is the things we have. And here advantages and disadvantages of the friction. Advantages are, what are the advantages we have for the friction? See, we can hold the objects because of the friction. Even we are walking safely is because of the friction. Even we are fixing the nails to the walls, or else we are doing, anything involves the friction. Without friction we can't do anything, isn't it? These are the advantages of the friction. At the same time, disadvantage also happen for this friction, because of the friction in the machineries will get wear and tear. Because of the friction, machineries get wear and tear, and it produces even the heat energy also. Due to that heat energy, the machineries get damaged when they are working. So that is somehow the disadvantage of the friction. But even though disadvantages or advantages are present, both sides it has. The how coin is having both sides, even friction also having the both sides, advantages, disadvantages. And that is the reason we call this is a friction, also we can call as a necessary devil, because we require the friction. At the same time, it is making some disadvantages. So we can call it as a necessary devil. Friction is a necessary devil. That is how we can talk about friction. Understand? Now, based on this concept, we'll do some questions now. I'll share for you, isn't it? Now I'll share for the questions, some questions to you. First, I'll share. So these are the questions I am sharing for you. Is it appearing? I hope it is clear. Now, brakes are applied. Any moving object stop because of what? Because of what we are applying brakes? Brakes are applied. Any moving objects stop because of what? Because of frictions, simply. Next, the normal reaction of heavier block is dash the lighter one, greater than, less than, same as any of these. Normal reaction on heavier block is dash the lighter one. What is that? Normal reaction of heavier block is dash the lighter one, greater than. Okay. Normal reaction of heavier block is greater than lighter one. Understand? So the option is if the normal reaction is more, the friction force is, because friction force is directly proportional to normal reaction, which means that normal reaction increases, friction force also increases. Since what is the relation here? Normal reaction more, then friction force also more. If the roughness of two surfaces in contact is more, then friction is also more. Okay, roughness is more, that is nothing but unevens. If the unevens are more present for the surfaces, it will provide more friction. So the answer is what? More. And the next slide. Oh, okay. I will need to share one more page, in one other page. Yeah, see, this is a question, some other questions. So in order to stop a car in the shortest distance of horizontal road, one should, these are the options they given. So please read the options. What is the options? Choose the correct one. In order to stop a car in the shortest distance on a horizontal road, one should apply the brakes very hard so that the wheel stop rotating. Apply the brakes hard enough to just prevent slipping. Pump the brake, press and release. Shut the engine off and not apply the brakes. So the actually this C option is correct, because here actually rolling friction, when it is rolls on the road, when it is rolling friction provides more safety for the breakers. Based on this concept only, ABS, anti-braking system is working. Understand? ABS system, anti-braking system is working based on this concept only. Press and release. Okay. Even nowadays, every vehicle is having ABS system. Okay. Anti-braking system. Next, 24. A block is sliding on a horizontal surface. The friction can be increased by. A block is sliding on a horizontal surface. The friction can be increased by decreasing the mass of the block, decreasing the area of the contact surface, by polishing the surface, by putting second block on the top. So question is, block is sliding on a horizontal surface. The friction can be increased by. We can increase it by polishing the surface, putting the second block on the top. So which option is correct? Option D is very much correct, by keeping another block so that we can increase the friction, because when you place another block on the top, normal reaction increases. When the normal reaction increases, friction will increases, because friction and normal reaction having directly proportional relation. Next, similar way, 25th, if the weight of the boy is increases, then the force required to move it increases, decreases, remains same, can't say. So force to move the block also must be increases. Next one, 26, dash are used in a car to reduce rolling friction. Metal plates, radial tires, normal chains, graphite rods. Dash are used in a car to reduce rolling friction. Metal plates, radial tires, normal chains, graphite rods. Which one is correct? Radial tires only. Next, rubber tires are preferred to steel tires because coefficient of friction between rubber tires and roads is greater, smaller, same, and none of this. It would be greater. Okay. Next, it is difficult to move a bike It is difficult to move a bike on because rolling friction will be converted into sliding friction. Sliding friction will be converted into rolling friction. Rolling friction will be converted into static friction. So what is the answer here? It is difficult to move a bike on because rolling friction will be converted into sliding. Sliding friction will be converted into rolling. Rolling friction will be converted into static. But what is the question here is, it is difficult to move a bike on because this is a incomplete question actually. Go to the 29. Ball bearings converts limiting friction to sliding friction, sliding friction to rolling friction, rolling friction to sliding friction, all the above. Option B, ball bearings are converting sliding friction to rolling friction. So option B is correct answer. Next one, on which of the following toy car will travel the furthest? Tell me. Wet marble floor, dry marble floor, newspaper, carpet. Because yeah, because in the wet marble you may get less friction uh, than other friction, other marbles, so that it can move very long distance. Next, a boat or an aeroplane has pointed or tapered front head. Why? Why tapered head? Why tapered head it has? Where is the question? Yeah, a boat or aeroplane has a pointed or tapering front head. Why? To increase the friction of fluid, to reduce the friction of fluid, to look good for no reason. Actually, pointed or tapered head nothing but a streamline. Who is having streamline? Boat or aeroplane having streamline structure. Why it is having streamline structure? The streamline, see, if you see the aeroplane having this structure, isn't it? And the boat having this, ships having this structure. Understand? So anyhow, this structure is showing that streamline. Why this structure having the both boat and aeroplane? To reduce the friction, to reduce the air friction or drag friction, we have streamline structure. Understand? And the next 32, a toy car released with the same initial speed will travel further. Mud surface, polished marble surface, cemented surface, brick surface. So here the answer is surely which option B, it will come polished marble surface. If we apply oil on the door hinges, the friction will decreases or increases? If you apply oil on the door hinges, the friction will increases or decreases, disappear altogether, will remain unchanged. So friction will decreases because the oil is act like a lubricant. The lubricant is reduces the friction, so that it can easily open and close the door. Let's go for the next slide. Two blocks A and B of same mass are sliding on the same surface. Area of contact of A is twice the B. Friction force between A and surface is same that of B, half that of B, twice that of B, none of these. So here two blocks A and B of same mass sliding on the same surface. Area of contact A is twice that of B. Means area of A is more than B. When area is more, what going to be happen? When area is more, what going to be happen? Look at here, the area of contact is not depends upon the friction force. So what is the answer? Same as that of B. What is the answer? Same that of B, because the surface area is not affect the friction force, because surface area is does not depends upon friction is does not depend upon the area of contact. It only depends upon the normal reaction. Since in both cases the weight is same, A block and B block having the same mass, which means that they are providing the same normal reaction. When they are providing the same normal reaction, they provide same frictional force. Since both A and B are same. Next, sand is dusted on the railway tracks during rainy season. What is the reason here? Increase the friction, make it always wet, to reduce the consumption of fluid. None of these. So what is the answer here? To increase the friction. Next, all the surfaces shown in the figure are rough. The direction of the friction on B, direction of the friction on B, see direction of the friction on B, observe the free body diagram of the A block and B block. This is, look at here A block. When the A block is trying to, A block is trying to slide here, or else I draw here. Mg is acting this direction. When Mg is trying to act downward direction, friction force acting on this upward direction by the surface. Even this also, when this is sliding in this direction and this is also applied upward direction. Next, the Mg will act this direction. So even on here it would be this direction. So here, what is the question? The direction of friction on B due to A. The direction of friction on B due to A is, actually the due to A is, it is trying to move downward direction, kada? Trying to move downward direction, it is trying to move faster. When it is trying to move faster, friction opposes upward direction. So answer is, your answer is C, option C. Okay. Next, in the above figure, in the wall is smooth and the surface A and B are in contact or rough, the friction on B due to A is in equilibrium is. So once again, in the above figure, if the wall is smooth and the surface A and B in contact or rough, the friction on B due to A in a equilibrium is. So both are moving together. When the both are moving together, so what is the thing will happen? It will have 0, because they are freely falling, the objects are freely falling. When this is a smooth, the object we can say are freely falling. When they are freely falling, relative motion between them is no relative motion between them is there is a no relative motion. There is a no relative motion. We don't have any friction because the friction is always opposes the relative motion. There is a no relative motion, so it can't opposes. So friction force between them is 0. This is how you can define the friction forces. Next, 59. A block weighing W is held against a vertical wall by applying a horizontal force F. The minimum value of force F needed to hold the block is less than W, greater than W, equal to W. Data is insufficient. Here data is insufficient here because we can't do it. We can't say how much is the minimum value with this force, with this data. So the answer is what? Data is insufficient. I will go for the next slide. So until then I will share this. This is a matrix match type. Try this matrix match type. Is it appearing matrix match? Yeah, look at the first matrix match. Streamline of aeroplane, dimensionless quantity, tangential force, reduces air resistance, maximum static friction, maximum kinetic friction. Tell me which one is correct answer? Streamline of aeroplanes will be reduces the air friction, so it will come R. Frictional force tangential to the surfaces. So friction force always tangential to the surface, that is Q. Limiting frictional force, maximum static friction, that is yes. Quotient of friction, maximum kinetic friction, maximum static friction, dimensionless quantity, that is P. So RQSP, which one is RQSP? RQSP Option B. Option B. Next 58. Look at the 58. Frictional force. Deformation at the point of contact. What is the answer? Frictional force is a non-conservative force. You can keep it as T. Rolling friction is a reduction of friction. No, not reduction of. Rolling force, non-conservative force, deformation at the point of contact. Actually R. You can keep R. Ball bearing, reduction of friction, that is P. Fourth one is excessive polishing is increasing the friction. So total TRPS. TRPS. Actually TPRQ. No. TRPS. Is there any question is there? TRPS. Rolling. T P P. Actually they given. They given up and down. Our answer is correct. They given up and down. T rolling friction is okay. Rolling friction is deformed at the point of contact. That is also not coming. This is TP. Ball bearings deforming the point of contact. So there is no proper answer we have for this key. Okay. Next, I will go for the 59. Advantage of friction. Advantage of friction is what? Making dry surfaces, writing on the blackboard. This is R. Next, disadvantage of the friction. Speed reduction. Speed reduction, that is P. Reduction of friction, making dry surfaces. Reduction of friction is polishing. Increasing of friction, making dry surfaces. That is Q. So RPSQ. RPSQ is the first option. Option A. Next, one more also there. Rubbing of surfaces. What is the rubbing of surfaces? Reducing the friction, increasing the friction. Which one is correct answer? Rubbing of surfaces. Rubbing of the surfaces, reducing the friction, that is P. Increasing the weight of the body, it will increases the friction. Streamline, reducing the friction. Sand is spread on the wet ground, increases the friction. PQ, PQ. Which one is PQ, PQ? PQ, PQ. Option A is the right answer. So this is how the questions for today. In the coming classes, we discuss that other concept for, or else some numericals will do. Okay, in the coming classes. For in this class, we'll stop the session. Okay, na? Bye.